Wednesday. I am so excited to see so many of you here in the comments already. So Wendy Duke, big shout out to you who's watching from my YouTube channel. And Wendy Duke has been working on her book. And I am so excited to hear that you are on the final edit of your book, which is about the ancient tradition, Japanese tradition called Oshie, but she does it in a contemporary way. So that is outstanding. And I am Anne LaFollette, if you were new here, and I am an online educator, a creative entrepreneur, and a surface pattern designer. And I love to come on every single Wednesday to talk to you about art, creativity, and surface design. And I almost always focus on the blog that I send out on Tuesdays. So tell me in the comments if you got my blog, and did you open my blog and read it? Or do you want me to tell you a little bit about it? It's totally okay if you missed it. I send a blog out to everyone who's on my email list every Tuesday, and then I love to come on live to talk about it because some people love to read, some people don't, and also it's kind of fun to have a conversation with you every single week. But just to back up for a second, I am in Charleston, South Carolina, and one of you, I think, said, welcome to Charleston, Alicia. So Alicia said, welcome to Charleston. And I am, let's see, do I have your name up here? I do have your name up here. So hello, Alicia. Is it Alicia or Alicia? You have to tell me which way to pronounce it. And I am in Charleston for a mastermind meeting and then a 3-day event. And I love to learn. I am always learning how to be a better online entrepreneur, how to be a better creative entrepreneur, how to make sure I'm supporting my students in the best way possible when you come either through my From Doodles to Dollars coaching week program, or you come into my signature program, which is my academy program, right? My Pattern Design Academy program. And so I'm always interested in learning. How can I make my course better? What else could I offer to you if you're not interested in an online course, but maybe you're more interested in coaching? So I'm always learning, and I'm finding the right mentors to teach me what I need to learn, since I have really only been in this creative space for 5 years. For those of you who are relatively new here, you've probably heard this story before, but I had a corporate career for 30 years. So I got up every morning, I put on my suit and my heels, and we had my fancy purse, and I drove into the city, and I worked all day. I worked my way up the corporate ladder. I became a vice president. I worked for global retailers. You'd recognize all their names. And one day, when I was in my mid-50s, my boss called me into his office, and he said, Anne, we have just eliminated your job. And this came as a complete shock. I actually had a fantastic job at that particular moment. The year was going really well. And I also had a very high performance record, a consistently high performance record at the company. I was always like in the top 10% of performers. So it came completely out of the blue. And thank goodness for my mom, because of course she's the first person I called because I was like in shock. And she said, you know what, you don't need them. You're gonna pick yourself up and you're gonna dust yourself off and you're gonna figure out what's next. And I did figure out what was next, and what was next for me was completely different. I decided to reinvent myself and learn how to be my own boss. And I have to tell you that although I had to learn a ton of new skills, because I needed to learn how to become a surface pattern designer, didn't go to art school, and I had this passion for turning my doodles into beautiful repeating patterns like this blouse I'm wearing, and then sell products like a line of blouses or wrapping paper or fabric for quilting projects. I had to learn all of those skills. But I have to say, you know what was the biggest motivating factor for me to keep going and always want to learn how to do even better and find all of you and how I can best serve you to learn how to be your own boss too, was being your own boss is the most incredible. It's just the most incredible blessing to be able to wake up every day and do what you want to do, not do what someone's telling you that you have to do. And that has been revolutionary for me, right? It's just been completely revolutionary. And I, to this day, I just feel so blessed that I can wake up every day and I can run the type of business that I want to run on my own terms, and I can have the programs and the services to support you in the best way possible. And I'm always open to your ideas and suggestions for how I can continue to improve my programs and my services. But it is an incredible blessing to be, I am in the driver's seat. And the other thing that's amazing is all I need is my computer. So here I am in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm in a tiny little, I'm in a beautiful little office here. The mastermind is happening like right outside the door. There are like 40 people in there. We're in the middle of the mastermind session. But I didn't want to miss my weekly Wednesday live, and so here I am to talk to you and tell you a little bit about the 3 tips that were in my blog, and then I'll let you go. But I wanted to give you that as a little bit of a background story, because I can work from anywhere. All I need is my laptop and an internet connection, right? All I need is a Wi-Fi connection and my sweet little laptop. And I'm going to be here. I'm actually not going to be here next week. Next week on Wednesday, guess where I'm going to be? So next week, I'm actually going to be with a different group of people, also learning new techniques. And I'm going to be in Costa Rica. So I'll be coming to you from Costa Rica next Wednesday. And again, I'll be on my computer. I'll be live probably from my hotel room, and as opposed to this pretty little office. And the freedom that comes with being your own boss is incredible. So that actually isn't what my blog was about, but I wanted to give that to you because I'm so excited to be able to come to you right in the middle of my week. I'm in the middle of this mastermind meeting. I'm going to go right back out there as soon as I finish talking, and then I'll be back again next Wednesday. But let's do this, and let me do this, and let me do this. Hold on a second. I'm just looking at my phone really quickly because sometimes I can see your names, and so I wanted to say hi. And so Alicia, you and I actually did get to meet. I'm now remembering. I'm now totally remembering. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to share my screen and go over to my website so that you can always find my blog. And if you're relatively new here, you can go backwards. You can go see blogs that I've written in the past. So what I wanted to do was share my screen and go quickly over to my website, because I also wanted to remind you about a workshop that's happening right now that you might want to join. So you can see on screen right now, this is my website, AnneLaFolletteArt.com. Do you see up here it says AnneLaFolletteArt.com? And when you land on this page, where the image is up right here at the top, you can pop over here to this red button and click on the blog in the upper right hand corner, and then it'll take you to my blog, so you can see that the blog that I wrote yesterday was all about love what you do. I think you also want to do what you love, but it's also super important to love what you do. And what I talked about in the blog was 3 tips to find your flow, because sometimes we can kind of feel a little either overwhelmed or we can feel like we're stuck. And the key thing for me here in terms of sort of the storyline for why I wanted to write about this week is because January went by so fast, right? Let me come back on screen. Don't you feel like January just went by like in a flash? Normally January doesn't go by normally to me, January feels like a nice long month, right? It's post the holidays and it feels like a nice long month because it's 31 days. But for some reason, January just went by so fast. And normally in early January, I'm working on a lot of pattern designs for Valentine's Day. And I'm not actually wearing one today. This is cute and it's pink, but it's not really a Valentine's-y kind of pattern. And I kind of just got behind. So I realized, gee, maybe what I should talk about this week is just what are 3 tips that I have when you find you're working on something, you're getting a little bit bogged down, or you just need a little bit of a burst of energy or a reset, right? A reset. Or maybe because the holidays, there's still like a holiday hangover in January, you haven't actually gotten back into your creative practice. And so what are a couple of tips that I use to get myself back into my 15 minutes a day or half an hour a day or whatever your particular creative practice looks like? And so the first tip is I learned over the years that in order for me to be able to kind of stick with my creative practice, I needed to have a place in my house, it's actually in my garage, where I could leave my supplies out. Because what I was finding is that I would try to work at the dining room table or at the kitchen table, but then sort of halfway through the day, I would feel like I have to clean up, right? I have to clean up. I can't leave a mess in the house. And so I would both spend the time setting up my art supplies, and then I would spend a lot of time cleaning up my art supplies. And of course, every time you clean your art supplies up, then the next day you have to decide, am I going to get them out or am I not going to get them out today? So a really big kind of aha moment for me was being able to leave them out, right? And not have to actually clean them up. So I wanted to share that with you. If you have a space in your house, or I have a creative studio now in what used to be our garage, it's actually still partially our garage and partially my creative studio, but I can leave all of my supplies out, which is, I just find super helpful. It kind of breaks the barrier of saying, am I going to do it today or not? And you can sit down and get started right away. So that was tip number 1 that I wanted to share with you. But let me know if you also have a great suggestion that you want to share with the rest of the program. It's really important to lean into when you are at your most creative, because we all have biorhythms, right? We all have a different time of day when we are most alert, when we feel like we have the potential to get into flow. And that can be, you might be a morning person, you might be a mid-afternoon person, or you might be a late night person. And you probably know what you are. And leaning into that and actually really leveraging that time that is when you're kind of at your best, or you find your peak performance, that actually is an incredible way to also help move your creative practice forward, because you're more likely to find your flow during that time of day, as opposed to trying to figure it out at a time of day when you know you're either going to get interrupted, or there are potentially too many other distractions, and it isn't going to work very well. Now, of course, we have to be flexible because things happen. We can't always be on a very rigid schedule. That doesn't always work. We have to sometimes take a little bit of a break and come back to it. But once you know when you are most productive, or when you kind of feel like this is the best time of day for me to be doing my creative practice, you are giving yourself a big step forward, right? Or a big step up. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that I also think it's really, really important to periodically get inspired by what you're learning from someone else. And I think that what's happening right now in the surface design space, and many of you have already signed up for this incredible program, is that one of my biggest influences and biggest mentors is Bonnie Christine. And I'm going to go back to my website for a second, because I want to show you that when you go to my website and you're reading my blog, right? You're reading my blog, I talk about the challenge that she's running right now, which is called The Art of Business. But if you come back up actually to the landing page, you go just to AnneLaFolletteArt.com. If you go to AnneLaFolletteArt.com, and then you can sign up for the free workshop right up here at the top. It says, join me in Bonnie Christine's free workshop, The Art of Business, 7 Secrets to Success in Surface Design. You can also scroll down right here, and you can see this is the image that she's actually been running to tell people about her free workshop, and this is a click here to join us button. I know that this image didn't fit perfectly, but I'll fix that later this afternoon. But the key thing is you can click here to join her free workshop, or you can click right up here to join it. Or you can go to my blog, and when you read my blog, the third tip is that she's running this incredible workshop. And the reason that let me come back on screen. So you might be asking, well, who is Bonnie Christine? So Bonnie Christine actually is 40 years younger than I am. She has 2 young kids, and she lives in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina. So I'm in South Carolina right now. She's in North Carolina. She's actually not that far away from me at the moment. And she has a beautiful young family, 2 young kids, wonderful husband, and she has been a surface pattern designer in the industry for the last 12 years. And she has developed a really beautiful business. She's an internationally known licensed designer. She puts out a couple of collections a year on fabric through the licensor that she's licensed with. And she also has courses and workshops. And this workshop, The Art of Business, is something she only does once a year. And it's in celebration of her big signature course, which is called Immersion, and which is a very immersive course on learning how to use Adobe Illustrator to create repeating patterns. It's an incredible course. But she wants you to understand what the art of business is all about in surface design, which is what the workshop's about. And she shares over the course of a series of videos that you get emailed to you, as well as Q&A sessions that she gives you a Zoom link for. She wants you to understand kind of the 7 key secrets that are important to know before you decide that you want to make a big investment in an online course like hers. And I love what she does. I think that she's one of the most genuine people. And if you came last week, I ran an interview that she and I did together recently. And I think you got the flavor of what she's like, both as a woman, as a mom, and as a creative. And I always learn something new from her. And the workbook she gave today is totally worth signing up for. You're an alumni, or you're an Immersion alumni. Yeah, so over the course of the workshop, she also gives away prizes. She makes it really, really fun. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys know I'm an affiliate for her. And if you don't know what that means, it just means that at no extra cost to you, if you sign up for the workshop through me, and then you decide to take Immersion, I might get a commission from her. I'll only get a commission from her if you purchase the course through my link, and a lot of people won't end up going through my link. They'll go straight to her website to sign up, but I just wanted you to know what that means. And I want to be super transparent about it because I love her, and so I love supporting her program. Her program is wonderful, and I would love for you to take her workshop so you get to know her, and then when she makes her offer for her Immersion program, you can decide if you want to actually invest in her signature program, which is called Pattern Design Immersion. And I would love for you to come through my affiliate link, and to do that, you sign up for the workshop through me, or make sure when she actually sends her first email about when Immersion's open for enrollment, make sure you click my link to go buy it. And if you have any questions about that at all, you can always email me so that I can make sure I am explaining it in as simple a way as possible. But the simplest way is to just sign up for the workshop through me, and then if you end up buying Immersion, she'll already know that you came through me. And of course, she really appreciates people like me supporting her. And I am happy to do so because she's an incredible, incredible creative force. And the workshop is a wonderful, wonderful way for you to get to know her and for me to support her by having you sign up for it through me. Okay, and there's room for everyone, which is one of her favorite sayings, is that there's room for you. She also highly encourages you to just think about making progress on your creative journey with 15 minutes a day. right? Because 15 minutes a day ends up being creating a habit, and 15 minutes a day, you can make incredible progress if you're doing it consistently. Okay, well, it sounds like something's going on with the workshop that I am in, and so I am actually going to let you go, but I wanted to know I just wanted to make sure I was sharing my 3 tips. I was also saying hello from Charleston, South Carolina, and I was also encouraging you to check out Bonnie Christine, because the service design industry is extremely supportive and encouraging. And to your point, Lynn, I see your comment, it's very non-competitive. It's a very supporting, there's room for everybody, it's a huge industry, and I love what I do in the industry, right? I now have a whole line of shirts that I would never have had if I hadn't learned myself how to become a surface pattern designer. And so you can too. All right, with that, I will let you go. Right? I will let you go. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy Bonnie's workshop. Make sure if you haven't signed up, it's not too late. Click the link that's at annlafolletteart.com, either the one across the top on the announcement bar, or just scroll down and you'll see it right in the middle of the page. Or if you got my blog, there's a link to the workshop in my blog as well. Just go find my blog, that email you got with my blog yesterday, and you can click the link there. All right? And I always like to say in closing, first of all, I'll be back next Wednesday, and I always like to say in closing that I am Ann LaFollette. And it's never too late to create. Bye for now, and I'll see you next week.